Well, here we are, just watching the sun go down at Besthorpe Gravel Pits, my first visit here of 2026. It's the 22nd of March today. I'm hoping that the conditions stay like this. They are forecasted too, and the temperature's not too bad. Some cooler or indeed colder nights coming again later this week, so this is pretty much about the only night that we've got a chance to trap with a decent temperature. And what a sunset. Well, it's nice to be back here at Besthorpe this evening. The current temperature on arrival here is 10 centigrade. It's dropped by about a degree on the journey here, and I'm hoping that the next few hours, 2 hours certainly, will give decent temperature. Can't expect warmth in March, but it's a lovely evening. The clouds just thinning a little bit, you can see there in the western and northwestern sky, but it is forecasted to be largely cloudy. We'll see what happens, and the first thing that will happen is a cup of tea and I'll get set up. A very pleasant evening. I really hope that the temperature just doesn't suddenly drop like a stone. It's not forecasted to, even here, but Besthorpe and everywhere else along the Trent Valley is all very open, all open countryside. But we'll see what turns up. This time last year, of course, we had Emperor Moth and Dotted Chestnut. Either of those would be most welcome. We'll see what the moth gods are going to throw our way. We're off and running here at Besthorpe Gravel Pits on the 22nd of March 2026 at 18:45 hours, 6:45 in old money. Lovely night. Just hope those temperatures just stay up enough for while we're here. Well, 10 minutes into the session, thermometer has settled now. It's 10 centigrade, which is exactly what it was saying on the way here, and I expect it to go into single figures fairly soon. No moths in at the moment, of course, but it's only just really starting to get to flying time for the moths. Be interesting just to see what comes in. It's a better feeling kind of night than we had at Gamston Wood. There's no breeze this evening, so the temperature is as it feels. Much better feeling kind of night. But we'll give it a couple of hours, see what turns up, and whether it warrants it, I will stop at least an extra hour. But I don't think we'll be doing that. I think this will be a 2-hour session just to get a sample of what's flying here at Besthorpe this evening. Well, we have our first moth, which was just flying by the light and thought about coming down, and I managed to net it, and it's a powdered quaker. So a very nice moth, because powdered quaker is a moth that I've never really recorded much at all. Don't remember Dillis and I ever catching it, but I've had several in the last few years, and I believe that I recorded this species last year. So it's a nice one to get on this evening's list. It's a moth that I thought about coming in, and here it is, an excellent addition. I say, not particularly common in Nottinghamshire, or at least regularly recorded. So powdered quaker's the first moth in. Well, I didn't see this coming. This is only the third moth that we've got in. There's just been a common quaker come in, but I don't think I've showed you this species before. And from memory, it's a long time since I did last catch one. And it's a pale pinion. I would like to catch tawny pinion, which is rarer than pale pinion, but there's an interesting story to this moth, or at least to pale pinion in Nottinghamshire, because back in 2005, I think it was, I took Dillis out moth trapping for the very first time, not long after we'd got together. We went to Lownwood, right into the middle of Lownwood. I gave her a net, and the very first moth that she netted was a pale pinion. What makes that even more remarkable is that it was new to Nottinghamshire. Quite stunning that the very first moth someone nets, and it's a new species for Nottinghamshire. It's a moth which did well after that, and we caught it a number of times, including several times in Sherwood Forest and other sites. But I haven't seen it for a good few years, as far as I can remember. So that's a very nice one to get. 3 moths, powdered quaker one of them, pale pinion another. You may think this is that clouded drab that I had the other night at Gamson, but it is actually a red chestnut. On first glance, looks very similar, but red chestnut are smaller than clouded drab, not too much smaller, but there are noticeable differences when you see one. Nice one to get. I'd forgotten that we could get this here, and it took a while to settle down, but eventually it has. But they're a very attractive moth. Again, I'll put photographs in just to show you how colourful these are. There's one form that is quite red, quite a rosy red, and then there's another one that's fairly grey with hints of reddish or rosy red to the coloration. So that's a nice one to get on the list for this evening. More moths starting to come in. This is one or two Hebrew characters that have come in. This is quite a well marked one, actually. I don't know where the other one has gone, but I thought I would just film this. It is a very attractive moth. Obviously, it's named after that Hebrew-like character from the Hebrew alphabet, that black marking on the forewings. It's a moth that will turn up everywhere. That's Hebrew character. So there's 2 of those in. Increasing numbers of common quaker coming in. All of a sudden, despite the temperature now at 7, as we approach the end of the first hour, we've got a few moths actually coming in. But they're very well marked and attractively marked Hebrew character. Well, this common quaker has certainly found its own little plinth to stand on, or to rest on. Interesting how the eyes are catching the light from the mercury vapour bulb. In fact, that's what alerted me to the presence of this moth from the other side of the light. I could see these two little bright lights almost on top of a pebble. Came round to see what it was, and it was this common quaker. Well, here's that shoulder stripe that came in a while ago. Not the best marked of individuals. Some can be absolutely striking, and that pale bar, that pale scalloped bar across the forewings can be almost white. This one's, well, just looks very dull, this particular individual. There's another small quaker comes in. But nice to see shoulder stripe. Always a lovely moth to get at your light. Well, I'm steadily being beaten by both the moon and the temperature, and the reason I'm being beaten by the moon, despite the fact that it's only a crescent, is that if I can see the moon, it means that the sky is clear, and it has steadily cleared over this last hour, really, to be honest. And so as a consequence, the temperature has continued to drop. We're on 7 at the moment, and I don't think it'll be too long before we go on to 6, but we might have been packed up and done and dusted by then. Something nice has dropped in. It's a moth that we've seen before, and it's this one in here. It won't settle down on the sheet to film, and it's a streamer. It's an absolute beauty of a geometrid moth, one of the carpets. Carpets generally always hold the wings in like a V-shaped or triangular shape, you could say. But the streamer is particularly beautiful, and this one is, well, straight out of the tin earlier today by the looks of it. It's an absolute beauty of a moth, very attractive, and certainly one of the nicer marked moths that we have flying in the UK in spring. So that's just come in, which is nice to see. Always nice to get streamer. And of late, in the last sort of 5 minutes, there's a number of clouded drabs which have also come in as well. On the micro front, just the one moth, and it's an Agonoptrix, and I'm presuming it's Heracleana. It was worn, so it's either Agonoptrix, Heracleana, or Ciliella, if I remember that name correctly. But I'm going to give it up till the 2 hours, and then I think it will be pack up time with the temperature the way it is and the clearing skies. But a few moths have come in, and say highlight, pale pinion and streamer. Well, I'm undecided what to do, but I think the 2 hours are up anyway, and I'm going to call it a night. There are a few moths coming in. It's mostly Hebrew characters which are coming in, but the moon is still high in the sky. It's not the brightness of the moon, it's the problem. It's the fact that it's clear sky, and the temperature is still 7, but say I think it's going to go down to 6 before too long, probably on the way home. So in some ways a very disappointing early spring session, and I had to take the opportunity to trap. As I say, the rest of the week doesn't look very good at all in terms of nighttime temperatures, but there will be other nights. So we'll have a steady pack up, and then we head for home.